words are treacherous. Often utilized and misunderstood in language and writing. This misunderstanding of words is comparable to the ideas of human identity. The one thing that is separate from all things pseudo-psychological within us. Identity is like something given, like your name. The first name is the given name. If we've become adapted and programmed to allow this idea to make us who we are externally. It's within human nature. Our true nature to set things apart from another, dissect and analyze with adept precision. As in knowing everything there is to know about a certain flower before ever actually knowing its scent. Or before we first experience its scent. Funny thing is that I know what you're probably thinking. This is perplexing nonsense. Get out of your head. But if we look at it from a further perspective, we may start to see it as a whole. Now it can be easily said that all of this is part of the problem. Like, what problem? What problem might there be? It's the problem in society that we have today. Not that I am anyone's judge or anything's judge. But we all know what hell society has become. I mean, there's no accounting for it. I mean, it's obvious. You know. See, the thing is that identity is constructed later with the participation of language and society. Identity is because of societal constructs. We all need to establish what we want in a novel or acceptable way in a group, or at least to ourselves. What it is exactly that we desire. So that the fulfillment of our desires could be quite possible. We need to know whether others will deter or aid to our aim. In this case, we try to compare with others and speculate whether we are all different in our desires or not. And what we are compared as to others. Sadly enough, this is identity. Identity is a social phenomenon. Identity exists only by comparison, or in comparison. Unlike our thoughts in this grand universal world we create within ourselves, the ego is like the table of contents in a book, constructed and with form. It is the I that is the you. But unfortunately, that is not the idea of the self, or the supreme self. And as I've mentioned before, like, what is the self? We're always looking, we're always searching. We can't say, because the self really isn't words. It is more than that. It's deeper than that. Simply stated, call it unoriginal if you want to. No one can say what the self is, because it just is. It's exactly that. It's like we carry the ego like a bottle of water, only to consume or pour out the contents to replenish with clean and fresh water. More often than none, we use an excuse within as for the forming of the ego. And it really all just depends on how your ego was formed. And as I mentioned, I am no judge. I am no one's judge. I am nothing's judge. It's only because we allow it to be so. It's the I am, the I will, the I won't, the I don't, that makes you who you are within yourself. Like a great game. You become absorbed, caught up, often confused. A lot of us don't know which path to take. And it's not because we didn't have good enough guidance or someone to pat us on the back every time we do something good for ourselves or others. Who knows? It's the beauty of understanding the self, finding out what the self is at first, getting your feet wet, if you will. Because we're all often saying that we're looking for ourselves. You're looking for yourself. But we don't know what the self is. None of us do. No one can say, as I said before. No one can really say. And we could also say that it's not us looking, it's not you looking, it's not me looking. The game has been presenting it to you the entire time. It's just hidden within the ego. We use the ego as a mask for something that what really isn't, or what really is. It is the I that is the you. The ego is conceit without confidence. You can't have one without the other. So that being said, you can say that you cannot have ego without the self, or vice versa. But not quite literally. You could say that I desire, and with that, it's the self reflecting off the ego bouncing back thought. That thought being the ego, which is inward. So at this point, which is it? The ego or the self? You could say that it's neither.